On November 8, 2016, the American public will line up at the polls to cast their votes on who they believe should lead the United States of America for the next 4 years. There has rarely been a more polarizing presidential election in living memory. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump have now stood before millions of people on live television to argue why they should be the 45th president. Now, as more and more people make up their minds, the question has been growing louder and louder, and for most Americans can no longer be ignored. Who should be the next American president? In this video, we're going to look at 3 reasons why both of them have what it takes. For their supporters, these reasons are often held up as the candidate's greatest credentials. We'll look at both of them, one at a time, and weigh up their credibility. Firstly, immigration. One of Trump's most consistent policies has been to implement a 2,000-long-mile wall along the US-Mexico border to halt illegal immigration into America. He has vowed to triple the current number of immigration agents and has said he will reform legal migration in the form of visas and suspend visas to countries he deems to have inadequate security screening methods. Immigrants will only be allowed in based on the likelihood of their success in the US, their ability to be financially self-sufficient, and how well they support American values. Countries struggling with domestic terrorism will have their visa rights to the US temporarily suspended. Perhaps most importantly, Trump says that every undocumented immigrant will be subject to possible deportation. Trump says all of these policies are there to prioritize the jobs, wages, and security of the American people. Hillary Clinton is also for immigration reform, but in very different ways. While Trump has toyed with the idea of deporting illegal immigrants, Hillary has said she will stay committed to Barack Obama's system of normalizing long-term undocumented residents and is firmly against their mass deportation. She said that law enforcement having to go into schools, businesses, and homes, rounding up undocumented immigrants and putting them on trains or buses is not in keeping with American values. Instead, Hillary wants to give them a path to become legal residents and eventually naturalized citizens. Refugees and asylum seekers will have a fair chance to tell their stories, and she has vowed to put resources into only deporting violent illegal immigrants.
Thanks.
As for Donald Trump's wall, Hillary said it's a dumb way to secure the border and that the US-Mexican border is actually the most secure border the country has ever had. Secondly, we're now going to look at the economy. When it comes to taxes, Trump has said he wants to cut them for everyone, both rich and poor. On his website, he states, "I will ensure the rich will pay their fair share, but no one will pay so much that it destroys jobs or undermines our ability to compete." Now, this drop in tax revenue will then be made up through other means, such as trade deals, tariffs, and budget cuts. In fact, he has heavily criticized the existing trade deals in place and said he wants to use new negotiators whose goal will be to win the best deals for America. He has held up the long-standing North American Free Trade Agreement set up by Bill Clinton as the worst trade deal ever made. He said that he will reform or scrap that and many other existing trade deals to make them more favorable for the United States. Now, when it comes to job creation boosting the economy, Trump says that reducing tax on corporations and removing regulations on them will in turn lead to more jobs and a stronger economy. Hillary Clinton also wants to give tax cuts, but specifically to the middle class and small businesses. She wants to increase spending on training the American workforce and give tax incentives to companies that hire more Americans. As with Trump, Hillary's plans will see most Americans' taxes falling slightly except for the very, very rich. She has proposed a new higher tax bracket for those earning over $5 million a year.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
For Hillary, the main focus for growing the US economy is on repairing the country's infrastructure. She's vowed that spending on transportation, sewers, water system, hospitals, and schools will be the best way to grow America's economy in the long term. In order to stimulate the growth for the economy and opportunity for the increasingly jobless younger generations, Hillary has proposed debt-free universities and training highly skilled workers. This will all be paid for in part by her taxation of the super wealthy.
No!
Now, despite all of their differences on the economy, both candidates agree that they want to end corporate inversion, which is where US companies move their corporate headquarters to other countries to avoid US taxes. It's a big problem, and one 2012 study found that this technique lost the US $111 billion in tax revenue in that year alone. Next up, we're going to look at rights. When it comes to LGBT rights, Donald Trump has stood firm in his viewpoint. He has consistently opposed marriage equality, choosing instead to stop what he sees as the degradation of traditional family values in America. He believes it should be up to the individual states to decide whether or not they allow gay people to marry. He also feels the same on transgender rights. In July 2016, Trump was asked about the North Carolina law that stopped transgender people from using bathrooms that did not match their gender at birth. He said, "I'm going with the state. The state, they know what's going on." When it comes to reproductive rights for women, Trump is firmly pro-life. In September 2016, he sent a letter to anti-abortion leaders saying he was committed to nominating pro-life Supreme Court justices, banning abortion after 20 weeks, and defunding Planned Parenthood. Trump has said he holds these positions because the unborn, quote, "never had the chance to enrich the culture of this nation or to bring their skills, lives, loves, or passions into the fabric of country. They are missing and they are missed." Hillary Clinton is in some ways the polar opposite when it comes to the issue of certain rights. She is a very vocal supporter of LGBT rights, having once endorsed the Equality Act to provide protection against discrimination for people based on their sexual orientation and gender identity. When it comes to women's rights, Hillary has laid out a comprehensive plan for what she would do if elected. She said she will work to close the pay gap between women and fight for paid maternity leave, highlighting the fact that the US is the only Western country with no parental leave. She has also vowed to confront violence against women, and unlike Trump's plans to defund Planned Parenthood programs, Hillary says she will stand with them. Her website states that a woman's personal health decisions should be made by a woman, her family, and her faith with the counsel of her doctor. So, based on the issues we've discussed in this video, where do you guys stand? It seems that things could still swing either way in the coming days, and everyone around the world is now voicing their opinion on not only who should win, but why it looks like they will win. For Donald Trump, political commentators have said that although he is behind Hillary Clinton in the latest polls, that can be deceptive. There may be many Trump supporters out there that haven't been vocal about choosing to vote for him on November 8th. Perhaps they will come out to make up the numbers. This also mirrors the thought by some political analysts that a lot of Hillary Clinton supporters aren't as enthused by her. Far from gaining hidden supporters, she may even lose voters who just weren't inspired to show up on the day. But she is still in the lead. When you take all of this into account, and the fact that this turbulent election could throw up many more surprises in the days ahead, it's easy to make an argument why either candidate will emerge victorious on election day. You've heard both of their positions on some of the key issues. Once you know who you agree with on the ones that mean the most to you, you will know who should be your next president of the United States of America. Share your predictions and opinions in the comments section below, even if you're not old enough to vote or not even American. After all, the world is watching. I'm Danny Burke, you've been watching Life's Biggest Questions. We've got plenty more videos on the way, guys, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel, and we'll see you all in the next video.